Hi guys, welcome to another video. Gonna continue on with Tales from the Crypt, Season 1, Episode 3. It's one of the strangest titles. It's called Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. Never understood that title too much there, but you know, it's a fun episode. I've always enjoyed it. It's probably like top 25 for the whole series all time. And it's a little longer than the first couple episodes. This one's 28 minutes. And the air date is June 10th, 1989. I'm not sure if the first three episodes all aired on the same night, and it was like a 2-hour event with the commercials there. But yeah, it's the same air date as the first two episodes, so that's interesting. And this was directed by Richard Donner. You know, he's another great director. He's done the original Omen and Lethal Weapons. You know, he's worked many times with Mel Gibson and stuff like that. This one stars Joe Pantoliano. I've always enjoyed him as an actor. He's played in movies like Matrix and Memento. He plays in many things, mainly as a co-star though. And Robert Wool is in this episode too. Him too. He's in a lot of bigger movies, but it's always like a smaller role, like in Batman and The Bodyguard and Flashdance. He's one of the guys in the bar going Steelers. But yeah, so it's a decent cast, you know, with those two guys, and the other co-star actors aren't the strongest, but they're fun for their roles. We also have a couple cameos in the crowd at the carnival, because it's the main setting is in the carnival where Joe Pantoliano kind of performs. But at the beginning, you know, we always get that beautiful intro. We can never forget that beautiful intro with that music. Get the crypt keeper talking about the story and everything. So we get a credit sequence at the carnival. It doesn't feel crafted as well as episode 2, the Santa Claus one there. That one was beautifully shot. This one's not filmed as beautifully there. It feels a bit outdated, but I mean, still, it's a fun episode. The idea behind it, it's a bit absurd and everything there, but yeah. So at the beginning, we see Robert Wool. He's talking. He's like the manager at the carnival. And he's talking to the crowd and everything. He's talking to the camera. The camera's following him. And we see, Joe Pantoliano. He's called Ulrich the Undying in this episode. So at the beginning, he's about to do one of his, stunts where he gets killed, you know. He has 9 lives, supposedly, there. So we're at the one where he's going to be buried alive, this one. So he's buried alive. And he's remembering, how this all started, because this is supposed to be his last time, his last life, and it's going to be his big payday, and that's it. You know, it's all over after that. He can't die anymore after that, unless it's for good. So while he's in the coffin, he's re-encountering how this all came about, and it's kind of a funny story. He's like a homeless guy in a laneway. All of a sudden, we find out he's homeless, and there's this doctor that just comes randomly in the laneway and shows him money. He's pouring alcohol on him and stuff. He's like, I'll give you my life savings if you let me do this experiment on you, So he obviously goes with him to, sees what he's talking about and everything. He has him in his lab or his office or whatever, where he's about to do the experiment. He's telling him about it, how he can transfer a gland from the cat and just place it in in your brain, and you can have 9 lives supposedly. What a crazy thing. So he agrees to the experiment. When it's all done, he wakes up and stuff like that, and he's all bandaged up. You see it, like the incision was behind his head. So he's like, Doc, how do I know it really worked? So the doctor turns around and he blasts him right in the head. And a few minutes later, he he wakes up screaming, so he proved to him that the experiment actually worked. I don't know how that would work though. He has a bullet lodged in his brain. Does he have to remove that? It's just an absurd story, but I mean, it's just fun. Late 80s horror show. So after he gets the idea, the doctor tells him, well, we can make a lot more money. Let's go to the local carnival and show people that you can die and resurrect and everything, So but the doctor gives him the money he promised, saying we can make so much more with this, So the doctor goes and talks to Robert Wool over at the carnival. He says, okay, all right, bring over your guy. Let's see what he can do, So he goes over for his first death, and it's like a drowning. He's just in this tub of glass. There's not many people in the stands or anything. But yeah, so they're all cheering on and looking on and eating their popcorn, waiting to see what's going to happen. So they leave him in the tank drowned for an hour. So when the hour is up, they drain the tank. He's not waking up right away though. That's the thing. Every death, there's a different time period of when he'll wake up or like resurrect. So it's, you'll never know when he will. So like the first time, they just think he's like flat out dead. The crowd's like, this what the fuck? And Robert Wool's like talking to the doctor. He's like, what's going on, man? This is illegal in some states. It's just funny stuff like that. So all the crowd is walking out, and then he starts waking up, But like the girl that helps out the main performer and all that, she's like asks him before he drowns, does she want to go out with him and everything. So when he wakes up, she's like, oh my God, he's awake, and he's like, I'm resurrected. So Robert Wool runs back in the tent, and he's like, hey, all the crowd members come back in. Oh, he's resurrected. So they make like $10,000, something like that. So they're making a few bucks there early on. And now he does like a second death where he hangs himself. It's just like a bunch of different quick deaths. I mean, it's 28 minutes. You got to try to fit this in as quick as possible. So there's one where he hangs, and when he resurrects, he's like still hanging, and the girl's like, oh, making out with him. So I guess they're dating at this moment. And he's like, cut the rope, I don't want to waste a death, while she's like trying to kiss him because she's so happy he's back, So, so he's, so he hangs there, and Ulrich and the doctor are driving. Because, up until this point, the doctor's taken like 60% of the commissions or all the profits of the carnival. So they're driving, and Joe Pantoliano, Ulrich the Undying, gets the idea of I'll waste a life, while they're driving. He crashes the car and kills the doctor. He resurrects, of course, but he wastes a life there just to be able to cut his partner out of the picture, type of thing. So he gets another death where he's being electrocuted, and it's a pretty gruesome death though, like his eyes are bleeding, and just the way the lights are flashing and the way it looks, I really enjoy that scene, to tell you the truth. But he fries pretty good, and it takes him a long time to resurrect from that one. So yeah, like I said, sometimes it takes him so long that he wakes up in like the morgue, it's like they really think he's dead. So it's just an interesting episode, and see how many times he dies in different ways like that, So he gets another death where he's hiding behind a wooden bear, and there's only a hole for a heart. And the guy at the carnival is like, okay, $1,000. You get a one shot, So even if you don't kill him, you still have to pay $1,000. Wow, pretty steep. So to get a couple of people, they miss. This guy comes up with his kid. It's actually the sergeant in Lethal Weapon. I forget his name, but he comes up with his kid, and he's like, come on, you're gonna kill somebody. I've killed many people in my life. You're gonna kill someone. His son completely misses, and then this real sharpshooter comes up and gets him right through the heart, one shot. So he gets him with that death. So his girlfriend ends up like being like a Two-Face, and backstabs him, like literally. Like when he's in the trailer, he's looking at the money. He's like, that maybe we'll take a vacation, and she stabs him in the back, knowing that he will resurrect. So it's not really like murder, but he'll be out for a bit, So she stabs him in the back while he's like looking at all the money and stuff like that. And she takes off with I think it's like 60 grand, something like that. So she runs off, and he's left with nothing. So he's supposed to do like one last gig. He wants 100% of all the money, and it's going to be like his last thing. And that's where it brings us back to the beginning of the story, where he's being buried alive in the coffin there. So when he's recounting all the memories and all the deaths and all that, he forgets that there was one life taken for the cat when the cat died, when he extracted the part of the brain that gives the cat 9 lives. So because the cat was dead, that he only really had 8 lives, so he miscounted, and he's stuck in the coffin, and because he's going to be buried alive. They'll come back, I don't know, tomorrow or whatever, and you see him resurrect, kind of thing. So everyone's gone at this point, and I noticed one of the gravedigger guys that lowers him down is that big arm wrestler from Over the Top that takes on Stallone. I thought that was such a weird little 2-second scene, But yeah, so he's like, let me out, he's screaming because he realizes he's actually going to die for good this time. He doesn't have a 9th life. it was used the first time with the cat. So it's a pretty, he's going to be buried alive. It's a pretty fun episode. A great director again, Richard Donner. I mean, this show is just fantastic. So I mean, at this point, the Crypt Keeper, for his intro and outro, he's really like darker, than he gets more fun-loving and goofier as the seasons go on. But in the first season, his voice is really raspy, so he plays more of a dead Crypt Keeper, so when he talks in the intros and outros, it's kind of strange because I know it's really different in season 2 and 3. Is like more, he's more alive, as the Crypt Keeper, But I mean, he always still has that iconic laugh. So, we get that great outro where they pan out of the, the decrepit castle and the gate closes and HBO, you got the presented by HBO Pictures. So I mean, that was the third episode there in a nutshell. There, I hope I did a good job of reviewing it. I never minded this episode. It's a pretty solid episode overall, and it's well made up, and it's got great actors, so it's very entertaining if you go rewatch this one. Anyway, so I'll see you again for episode 4 very shortly. Until then, guys, take care. Bye. I'm just sitting here at midnight, and I've been sitting here till noon. You see, my lady left me lonely. Yes, she did. Baby left me blue.
The funeral is about to begin, sir.
The Daigler.